I'm just starting the live video on Facebook.
What colors are we gonna need tonight?
You're going to need a nice range of like sunrisey, sunsetty colors. So some. I'm going to use. I'm basically usually going to use my regular palette, which is a yellow, a blue, and a red. And the specifics are I'm using phthalo blue and quinacridone magenta and what is it, primary yellow in this brand. So it's now you would want a dark color, so a black is good to have. And I can tell you where like you'd want a black. Um, I think that probably is gonna work.
You don't need white.
Oh yes, white. Sorry, yes, white. I don't think of white as a color, so I don't usually say it. So I know it's just white is just like water. See, when as a watercolor painter, the only white you have is the paper. So essentially, white is water.
That is true.
So when I paint in oil and acrylic, I'm thinking of white as just how do I get lighter. There we go. That's better.
Here's it horizontal.
I've got it horizontal.
I'm gonna sit here. Is that what you were asking? I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you were asking.
You're doing a little one? Colors.
So I've got on my palette, I've got the phthalo blue, quinacridone magenta, and yes, primary yellow, cad yellow light or something like that, and white. If you'd like, you might want black in your palette as well. When we get up to particularly the bear, the bear.
That white.
You're getting in? Start this.
So how's everybody doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Well, I'm not doing too bad. The puppy's running us ragged. She's quite a little bundle of energy. Today she woke up particularly energetic. We wore her out on Saturday with children. She played with children, so
That will do it.
that will do it. Yeah, she had a ball. She really likes running around and chasing children. That's a fun game. Alrighty. Oh, so we've got some folks on Facebook. Hi Arlene, hi Karen. I'm hoping that you can see that well. Oh, there we go. Somebody else coming in. Oh, howdy.
Did you have cobalt blue?
I pulled all the blues. Because we don't have the
Okay.
blues.
So you just said,
So
do you have cobalt blue?
Cobalt will work.
Alright, I got a brushes. There you go, gentlemen. We can move those once everybody picks their brushes.
Cam had suggested that everybody show their daffodils from last week.
Nice. You can do that.
There we
I
go.
lost everybody. Oh no. Hang on.
Oh, wait, here, let's do this. We'll move this.
Unfortunately, the folks on Facebook don't get to participate in showing theirs, but
You see it? There's one.
That's Aaron's. Oh, that came out
Nice.
really nice.
Mine's really big because they ran out of 16 by 20 canvases. It's huge.
I know that everybody is painting right now. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I like that.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, different. That one's mine.
Very nice. You didn't obsess in one spot, Crystal.
I didn't.
That's great. See?
I don't hate it.
When with every piece we learn something, don't we?
We do.
That's the whole point of all of this, is to learn something. We're all going to learn something tonight. Probably about ourselves, but you never know, maybe about each other. That's what's fun.
Here, take them in. You guys can put them behind.
So we're going to be doing a landscape tonight. Now, I had said that we were going to do flowers, but I'll probably will somehow sneak some flowers into this somewhere. Oh, good. Oh, Russ is coming. Hey, there you are. Yeah, I want to make sure. Oh, very nice, Sally.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that one came out nice too.
That's really nice, Sally.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah, this time of year, it's just really beautiful as the flowers are just starting to open. It's one of Jody's favorite times of year, just as they're just starting to open. The forsythias, the PJMs, the daffodils, they're all out.
You need mine.
But in the same way that I had to request no more fences, I also had to request no more flowers.
And you can see it.
So, this is for Luke. I don't know if Luke's watching at all. I don't think Luke's not on right now, but Luke may be able to see later. I decided we'd do something else that will sort of represent spring. So I was thinking, what else comes out in the spring? You know, black flies,
Oh,
right? But that's not as much fun. They're not fun to paint. They're not particularly
We can put
fun.
them in our painting.
Yeah, I mean, you can stick them to your painting, and I have done that. I have actually done that. Plein air painters in the springtime in New England often have black flies embedded in their artwork, so
yeah.
they become part of the art. But I wasn't thinking that, so I thought this morning they were giving the warning the bears are now out. I'm sure that our bears are out here. We have bears right in our neighborhood. I know that just a stone's throw away, we've got Carell and Margaret, I'm sorry, and Holly and Dick. They're just over the hill a little bit, and they have bears in their yard all the time. And all up along Old Street Road, they're up in there a lot. And they do get over here. So they have been back here. Our neighbors had their fence taken down by a bear last spring. So I know that they're around. So anyway, I thought a painting of a bear. And then somebody else said, well, how about a lake? So I thought, okay, we'll have a bear going by a lake. So the bear is sort of like extra. If you want to do the bear at the end, the bear will be sort of, you'll see what I mean. The bear will we're going to paint the bear at the end. If you want to paint the bear, otherwise it's a sort of a nice landscape with a lake and so what we're going to do is we start with a sky. We're going to start with a sky, and for a sky,
What is he doing?
We're, we're gonna paint sky. Can everybody see?
Did you tip it?
I'm going to take a bunch of white and a tiny little bit of blue. That's even still too blue. I want a very, very, very pale blue. I'll go all the way across the top. Now this sky could have a little bit more purple in it, a little bit more. You could even have a tiny little bit of yellow in it, but the phthalo blue where it is, that it's actually you actually could get a pretty nice sky color just with that. But as we're coming down, I am going to start adding a little bit of my pink. I just added just the tiniest little bit of the pink. The magenta.
Magenta.
Or if you have it, alizarin crimson. Or a light purple.
Crimson and clover.
Are we mixing white with the crimson?
Yeah. What I often do is I started sort of my a puddle, if you will. I mean, it's not really a puddle, but what I do is that's what I did was I started by taking some white and making a puddle, and I added to it the phthalo blue to make the first blue that I put on. And then into that same place, in that same puddle, I added a little bit of pink. And I'm trying to get in around the same tonal range, so it may need to be adjusted a little bit, but that's not really what you just want is a transition from the blue into a little bit of pink. We want to get a little bit of dramatic emphasis in the sky here. So what I'll continue doing is mixing paint in that same puddle area as I go. And now I've really added a bunch of the magenta.
You want us to get it darker as you go?
And so I'm just kind of blending this down so that I go from that blue into a pinker color. And you know, what's really funny is that just about any color you could pick for the sky here, it exists at some time in some place. Light is incredible, and if you watch it, an orange sky is not that high as green.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've seen that.
Me too. Right before the tornado in 2011.
Yep.
Run, run, run. Get under cover. That's why you don't see a lot. That's why you don't see a lot of paintings with green skies in them, because no one can sit long enough when the sky is green to paint the picture.
But it is so awesome.
Oh, it's an incredible thing. All right, I'm gonna need a little more white.
Right here.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
same, again with that same color, now I'm going to add white and yellow. And we're gonna bring that down.
I miss painting at the church.
I know.
Get gray.
Yeah, this is not the same thing.
Which one? Oh, that one.
You can't see.
Works for me because I'm studying finals, so I don't have to drive anywhere. It's nice to just sit down for a minute.
Yeah, I mean there are. See, that's the thing. There are positives to it too. It's not all terrible, but it isn't the same as being together. It really. I have a lot of fun being able to walk around and talk with people, and you can really see what everybody's doing as they do it, and that really does make a big difference, I think.
But that brings up a good point that in the future, when we do go back to the church and do that, that you could always have it be available on Zoom or Facebook for people that can't get there.
Yep.
Oh, hi Laura. Hey Sally, I missed you, Sally.
Miss you too.
It's Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. 5th of May.
And we had pizza. Who'd have thunk?
Should have had a Taco Tuesday.
I'm not a big taco fan.
Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Who's the person that's studying for finals? Who's that?
Hi, Victoria.
Where are you going to school?
I go to school in Connecticut, the University of New Haven, for forensics.
Wow. So how are you doing your finals?
They're all online. Luckily, we use an online platform for most of our stuff anyway, so it's pretty easy. You can just take tests right on there.
Do you ever have to work with cadavers?
No, I have not yet. I'm a sophomore.
Oh.
I don't think that's really part of the bachelor's program, though. It might be for like a master's or something, unfortunately.
So you really like those NCIS shows, don't you?
Yeah, I get
Yes,
that
she
most
does.
but I grew up watching them, so I do like them.
You ever watch those Father Brown shows?
No.
That's on the British BBC.
Oh, okay.
I watched the British one. It's a little different than that.
Like it. This is very true. Yours is very different.
It's just people talking about soccer.
Yeah.
It really has how little or how most of my life revolves around it.
Have you gotten any instructions as to when you can start having church again?
No, what we're really saying at this point is that it's too early to know when it's going to be time. We really don't know when it will be time because there's a number of factors involved in it, and it really is going to depend on whether we can make sure that it's safe. So, since we really don't know when we'll be able to say that, we really don't know. We're planning at this point for being able to have church virtually for the foreseeable future. We may not be able to open the church up completely until fall or potentially spring
Wow.
next year. So we're working with that as our reality right now. if something happens and we're very clear that it's safe to go back to gathering in those kind of numbers, um, that will be you know. So we are looking at the possibilities of other ways of having gatherings, possibly some sort of outdoor worship possibility, and we don't know what that would look like yet. So all of that is just still in consideration at this point. We don't really know what to do. Um, but the main thing is that we don't want to act too soon and wind up having anybody ill.
I can't hear him. Didn't understand what he said.
Yours is fine.
Yours is great, Aaron.
Asking if I should have done it like that.
Not necessarily. I did. We did
Can't.
the same.
I can't see what he did anyway.
It's your painting.
You know?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, so I'll explain what I've been doing here.
Bob,
Yeah.
can you turn your easel just a little bit more straight towards the camera because it was really hard to see. A flat. It has a glare on it. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me see what I can do about this. I think I gotta change the direction of this light.
He does it so much later than it. I gotta get that down.
Let's see here. Then for you folks, I'm gonna move you over this way a little bit more.
Have you? So who is it that goes to college right now? Is it Victoria?
Yeah.
So have they talked about what it would look like if you were actually working and this happened? Like how have they talked about the practical nature of like what's occurring right now and going to like some awful murder site or something?
No. I unfortunately again I'm a sophomore, so I'm not even really in the interesting classes yet.
You're not.
So I'm mostly doing like organic chemistry and physics and stuff right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, luckily, I think murder and crime rates have been going down because everybody's inside. So for this, it's been okay. But
You take your physics final yet?
yeah, nope, that's on Friday.
I pray for you.
Are you guys related?
No, I was Victoria's band mom.
Oh, okay.
I was there when I was at high school.
I am the band mom, but I don't have a band right now. And I'm very sad.
Well, Sally can play the uke.
Ukulele. Well, you know, I can't, but that would be awesome. What is this?
I just bought one.
Yes, how's it going? Are you learning?
Yeah, I need to finesse the one song a little bit more, but I know it now. And it's the only song that my father ever learned on the ukulele, so it was the only song that was in my head for it.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
It's 5'2" Eyes of Blue.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he does.
You know that there's a youth, Sally? You should tell her about your youth group up in Dublin.
Well,
I was looking for a youth group.
It's called the Monadnock Youth Group. MUG, Mug.
Great. Well, when I learn how to play it a little bit better, I might. You don't need to know how to play it, right, Sally?
That's right. You don't need to. You You don't have to know. You just
All right then.
you do air ukulele.
Oh,
Like you don't even have to. You just pretend.
well, I've got the ukulele and I want to show it off, but
Do you have to actually have a ukulele?
oh yeah, it's beautiful. It most of them are made out of mahogany, but that's a threatened species. So I found one that is spruce, and I'll show it to you guys because it's really beautiful.
Yay!
So what I've done here is I had down some bands of colors. Started with the blue up here, and then I had a pinker color down in here, and then I got into deeper pink, and then a yellowish, orangey kind of a color. Sort of blended them as I went down, and then I added some streaks in here for emphasis. Some places with white and the magenta, to give some little emphasis in there, little punch in the sky, and you can do the same thing. You can.
Yeah, we had a bear come through our yard yesterday, and we take the feeders in at nighttime, but we left the baffle up, and
Uh-oh.
the bear tore the baffle down. He was very disappointed.
Yeah, they really have a lot of personality. They actually are very social in their own way.
Bare necessities.
I don't want to be social at my house.
We've had them here.
Yeah, we do have them. They visited the neighbors not too long ago.
Well, bears will have their rounds. They know where they find certain things. And bears have a big territory, but not all bears have everything. Most bears don't have everything that they need in their territory. So what they actually do is they share territory with their neighbors. So somebody who has a lot of oak trees in their property will share acorns with somebody else, and somebody else who has berries in their yard, shares the berries. And the bears are actually they're actually very social. There's a guy.
We have had lately. I mean, we usually have them. A lot more is owls.
Huh.
And I'm always up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and to listen to them, they're beautiful.
Yeah, it's great to hear an owl.
We had a bobcat in my parking lot.
What time of day?
Open the car door.
It was in broad daylight. It was in the afternoon. It was huge. It was a very tall one.
Okay, so I have my sky here. I'm going to put in a mountain. I figured, you can put in almost any mountain. May as well put in Mount Monadnock, right?
Did you leave the bottom layer of the sunset as a really light yellow, or is it?
It's light. It's light yellow down to about here, but
Okay.
and then we're going to put in the mountain over part of the sky so that the sky becomes background.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's one of the ways that you can get depth and space in a painting, is by painting it in the order of the objects that you'd see. So you paint the furthest away thing first. You paint the next thing second. So we're going to paint the mountain. What I'm going to do is
I think it's black. Are you painting the mountains black?
it's not really black. I've made my own color, which is blue and magenta and yellow mixed together. No white at all. And the easiest way to get here for you, if you would like, is to mix black with a little bit of purple.
Okay.
What's your secret to making those good clouds?
Easy breezy.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the blending. And so then up here, it's not, after I blended it, I went back in, I put a little bit of white up in here, and then also, like now I've got a little bit of peach in these clouds. This is more pink, and then yellows and oranges. So there's a lot of color going on here. I probably could still define in here so that it really looks like it's going off in space, but limited time. Getting it, having the sort of nice, easy bits, and then I went over it. I sort of hit those with a little bit of water afterwards. I put a little bit of water in the brush, and just sort of brushed over it to blend.
That's how he gets it.
The cover girl.
Cover girl makeup. That's how he gets the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do those too. I do makeup as well.
Would you ever do a demo of how you do clouds?
Yeah, what I probably would be fun would be to do it in oils. I've thought about doing that. I haven't been painting the last couple of weeks because of the dog. We were getting ready for the dog, and we got the dog, and now we have the dog, and so.
You have a dog?
Yes, we do. She was going to come in at some point. I think Jody's got her downstairs.
Is it a puppy?
A puppy. She is
You
10,
have a puppy?
10 weeks worth of excitement.
What kind of puppy?
A Havanese.
Wow, was this planned?
Yes. Yeah, it was not an accidental birth.
How'd you decide on the Havanese?
Well, we had been looking at small breeds, similar breeds for a long time, and then our daughter sent us a link for a breeder that's in Spofford.
That's a pretty specialized breed.
Yeah, it is. And and she was raised in a home. She knew her name when she came home. The breeder used her name.
What's your name?
So it is. Her name is Grace. Her AKC name will be A Little Bit of Grace.
I was actually reading up on them today, and they sound like a perfect dog. The only problem is they don't like to be alone.
Right. Right. No, I mean that's one issue, and that's fine because Jody is home most of the time, or I'm here, or
Yeah.
both of us are here, and so we really don't have too much trouble with that. That's actually a good thing for us. We did research this a lot because if this dog is left alone for long periods of time, they'd just go nuts. They are not meant for that. They are meant for having their people around them.
Yeah. Well, our dog is not that, and she has been going crazy lately. When her Pepe leaves, she does not like it.
Okay, so what I've done here is now I've taken a green and mixed it in with that bluish purple thing that I had, and I'm doing the trees that are in front of the mountain. This is I'm sure going to be harder to see in the video because of it's just we don't really have the same kind of lighting and everything.
Bob, on the spot on the side that's blank, what are you putting there?
Oh, I'm still working over this way.
Okay, so is the mountain gonna go all the way across?
Well, no. See, the edge of the mountain is here.
Okay.
And then here, this part here is all this bluish green, deep blue green, and I'm coming down with that to get to where the lake will be. get the lake, I'm just going to go straight across, line straight across the whole canvas. So you can kind of, you could make all of this one with the mountain and all the way down to this flat be one thing. But there really are two, and it'll become clear. I'm going to put some highlights on this in a minute, and then you'll see where we are. Yeah, so Grace came home. It was Saturday. On Saturday, it was a week. So, and she has been really great. She's very intelligent, super smart. I mean, I'm not just saying that as a proud pet parent. You know, she's really, really sharp. She's learning.
How long ago did you start this?
6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, we contacted the breeder first about 6 months ago. She had a litter that she had just had a litter. They were taken. The next litter was taken, was all spoken for. So we put down a deposit then for this litter. There were only 3 in the litter, so that's, I think, part of it. I don't think they have a lot of puppies as a breed. Okay, now what I've done is I'm mixing a little bit of yellow into this to start creating
Take your sweatshirt off.
the trees, the image of the trees there. All right. And then this is one of the nice things about, it's one of the nice things about using a limited palette is I took that same color that I had been using to make these trees, to make the initial dark section of trees. I took that same color, I added white to it, and now this is the lake. And that's one of the things is that when you use colors like this, they automatically kind of go together because they're mixed with the same basic colors. So this is sort of a lavender. This is a light lavender.
Thank you.
Bob,
Yes.
it's Sally. Today, a friend of mine and I painted rocks, little, flowers on little rocks and stuff in acrylic.
Yeah.
Put them outside in a garden or something. Should they be covered with you need to spray them?
I don't. I don't know that. I mean, it depends on how long you want them to last. No paint on rocks is going to last forever, even if you get into epoxies and things like that. Nothing will really last forever. Water is the universal solvent. It will over time destroy anything. So so then time scale becomes your question. How long do you want it to last? I have found that things made with acrylics can last for 1 or 2 years. I actually painted parking lot stripes with just acrylic paints like this one time, and there were still pieces of them still on the parking lot almost 3 years later. Now it wasn't clear, it wasn't bright, but I'm not sure that I would have been able to cover it with anything that really would have protected it. Now you could get an acrylic matte varnish. You could get acrylic varnish and put a couple of layers of acrylic over it, and that would give it additional protection from the elements, but it's still going to suffer the same eventual decay. Over time, the acrylic will wear out. It's just like anything. I mean, if you leave, there's a lot of plastics that you really see this where, like 1 year it's fine. A lot of times flower pots are like this.
It's Grumbacher matte final varnish spray.
I would say go for it. Yeah. It says for acrylic, so I'm not sure what the material is, but it's clearly made for both.
It's oil and acrylic.
Yeah. That's that. I think that would be a good thing to use. I would definitely give that a try.
And make it bear.
Huh?
I'm doing a bear.
Ginger's gonna do a bear. She's very courageous. She also really knows how to draw well, so that's a big plus for her. She's Ginger is an illustrator, and so she's actually knows what she's talking about with illustration, with making things look. And actually, there really is a huge difference between illustration and painting and drawing and all those things. There's illustration is really an art of expression in image, in storytelling, in making things represented in some way. Now, much of what we call fine art also does the same thing, and much illustration and they wind up becoming interchangeable for each other. Winslow Homer was an illustrator by trade, but he painted beautiful, beautiful paintings, and in many of his paintings he includes well-drafted human beings in his. He really, when he drew people, they were occupying space and doing things. He was a master. Edward Hopper was also an illustrator, and you can see that in their work that they have an illustrator's eye, and that makes a really big difference in making art. The better you're able to draw and render, the better a chance you have of giving your expression voice. If you can't make the thing do what you want it to do, it doesn't come out looking the way you want it to. People don't see the message that you had, and it's just a frustrating exercise. So learning how to express ourselves in our medium really is the most important thing. And for Ginger, if you ever look at her drawings, they are exquisitely, delightfully charming.
Thank you.
Charming. They just would charm your socks off. They're incredible. the feeling and emotion that she puts in her characters is wonderful, and that's a gift. You know, that's a particular gift. So I just say that so that when she shows you, when she shows everybody, where's the baby? Oh, here she comes. When she shows everybody her bear, don't be, you know, don't be shocked.
Sorry.
And I spilled lemonade over here.
Oh dear.
Yeah, oh dear.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Do you have
We
people?
want to see the puppy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
She's, yeah, that's, you know, we're accustomed to hearing this. And when we call our granddaughter in the morning, the first thing she says is, "Where's Gracie Wacy?"
Come here, Grace.
Come here, Grace.
Come here, Grace. Come on. Come here. She's Papa.
I loved it this morning about when she's trying to eat the flowers and you're going, now no thank you.
Yep, no thank
No
you.
thank you.
Come here.
Oh,
Come here.
Didn't
Where's the
work,
Papa?
and she still tried to eat the flowers.
There we go. Here, you hold her up.
Oh, okay. Hi, guys. Here she is.
Hi. Look at that face.
Oh my gosh, she's cute. Are you guys euphoric?
Yeah, a little bit. I preached with her in my arms on Sunday.
No.
Yeah, you can watch that on Facebook. You can go to Facebook, to the church's Facebook page, and you can see I preached the whole sermon with her in my arms. And it was about her too. So
I can't think of a better thing to do during quarantine is to get a puppy.
I know, and we're not the ones who like went to find a puppy because we're bored and all that. We had been planning this. It's been 7.5 years since we had a dog. And our last dog, when she died, we were heartbroken, and we couldn't deal with it. And we researched dogs over the years, and we just could not do it. And finally, our daughter sent us this link. Gio and Jody both worked with this woman at Langdon Place in Keene. She was a nurse, and she's now a retired nurse, and so Gio found her on Facebook and sent us the link, and there we have it. Yeah, it is pretty amazing. We're up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or 5:30, because that's when it's light enough, and the first time that we move, it's like, okay, it's time to go. Let's get up. Yep. And she has been really, really good. She understands a lot already. She's a little willful at times. She has her moments. But that's okay.
I've only ever seen them on the dog shows.
Yeah, they're not a common breed around. They're you don't see them very often, and the history is great. They're from Havana.
Oh.
Yeah, they're the Havana silk dog, the Cuban silk dog, and they're called that because they're so silky. They're kind of in the family of poodle, and it's a cross between poodle and Bichon, an extinct Bichon line, and Maltese.
They're allergenic, aren't they?
Yeah, they should be. They're a hair breed.
I kind of perked up because I do have a dog allergy. And we have a dog. Yeah, it's the fur. I don't care. We still have the dog.
We had to get rid of the cat.
So anyway, she just has been so much fun. We are over the moon.
Are you a crater at night, Bob?
We have a crate. We have not yet put the door on the crate. We took the door off the crate, but we have a pen, and the crate is in the pen.
Okay.
And we put her in there. The first night she whimpered a little bit. It's actually we had her tethered to the bed the first 2 nights, and she did really really well. Then we put her in the pen the third night, and it took her a little bit, and then she settled right down. She went to bed, and she did. I don't know if she got in the kennel at all that night, but then the following night she got right in the kennel. Last night Jody had gone in to just kind of open our room and turn on lights and get things ready. Oh, she's in here exploring. She probably heard me talking about her. So she's right here. Yeah. She saw Joe. She was sleeping. She was sleeping in our little sitting room right next to our bedroom. And Jody got up and went into our room, turned around, and the dog had followed her. Yeah. And the dog, she went right into the kennel and laid down. It's like, oh, it's bedtime, right? She's incredible. And then yes, we said, yep, it's time for bed. You get in. And then we were doing a few more things. She got back out. Like, where are you? I thought it was bedtime. And we came back in. She got right back in the kennel, laid down. That was it.
Now, is she pretty much house trained now?
She is still having some accidents. We're using a thing that looks like AstroTurf. It's a little pad.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and that works really well. She does like that a lot, but she's not always reliable. Almost always, though. Like at night, she gets up and uses it.
How long have you had her?
Almost 2 weeks. Well, it'll be 2 weeks on Saturday. So, I mean, we're still a week and a half. Yeah, in a week and a half, she's really done, she knows a lot. She's picking things up. She really is energetic about being a good dog with us. She likes us. Yeah, we brought her home. We got in the house, and she went, "Oh yeah, okay, I could do this. This is great. You're my people. Okay, we could do this. We could be happy." And that was that. She never looked back. Never any separation anxiety. No.
How many puppies were in her litter?
3, and that's, I think that's. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing in terms of that. It seems like one of there was 2 girls and a boy. It sounded like the boy was a little bit. He did not seem to do well with the separation, but the question is, how is it dealt with? But all dogs all have different kinds of personalities.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh yeah.
We have our own little princess here.
All right, I'm gonna add my bear. What I did in the bottom here was I used again sort of this same greenish, maybe with the thing, and added some of the magenta to it, so it's a deep maroony kind of a purple. Along here, came up and then did a dark. You could use black for this, black and blue mixed together, black and purple, but just so that it's dark. You want to have a silhouette against the sky for that tree.
Is the water more of a gray in the middle?
Yeah, kind of a grayish purple.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's and see the graying of things. That's part of why I like using the limited palette. Is that if I take a purple from one place and use it to make a brown, I don't have to go very far to make brown from purple. So I'm always taking the colors. And when I work in oils, I work with a dirty brush. I often don't clean my brush at all. I might be hours mixing paint and and continuing to mix paint, but I'm not going far afield. If I have to go from a dark to a light, I get a different brush. I'll actually might have several brushes that I'm using in a session because I'll keep several brushes going, or a warm and a cool brush. I have a brush where I'm going from purple to green. I have another brush where I'm going from orange to violet.
Yeah, Bob, when I do that, it turns to mud.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons for a limited palette, first of all, and second, just mixing paint and practicing. That's the one unfortunate thing that I can't help anybody get past. Is just
or
that.
you do what I did and you just go by gray, browns.
Right. I mean that is
And then
another.
you stress over it, and it will stress me out.
Yeah, and I think that it depends on where you are in the journey of discovering it. When you get to the point where where you really want to explore the colors more deeply and what they do to each other and with each other, the more that you're mixing paint and really exploring the way that light hits color, hits the landscape and makes colors. Um, it becomes more fun to do that when you can explore the colors along a line. The more colors you have on the palette, the more difficult it can become to get back to a color. So, for instance, if you've got 4 different blues and 3 different reds and 4 yellows on your palette, or even better, you've got purples and oranges and greens, and you've got primaries and secondaries, and you've got them all over the place. And I've done that. I've had as many as 20 colors on a palette at a time. It gets difficult to find your way back to a color so that you can make the color fit right again. So if I've mixed 2 different blues from over here, and I mixed with 3 different reds, and then I added, well, which yellow did I use? No, wait a minute. I didn't use any of that yellow. So then you start, and then you don't know how to get back to the color. With 3 colors on my palette, it's pretty easy. I can go back to a painting weeks later and be able to add color to it that makes sense on that canvas because I only have 3 colors to use. Then there is a whole thing of learning how to mix something that's not mud. And what you're making are neutrals. And the neutrals are good, but you want them deliberately, not accidentally. So the neutrals come from mixing colors that are opposite on the wheel. If you mix orange with blue, you're going to get black or gray. If you mix purple and yellow, you're going to get black or gray. If you mix, what's the one I mixed? If you green and red, you're going to get black or gray. As long as they're exact opposites on the color wheel, you're going to get an exact neutral. And that's how I make clouds. I use cadmium red light. I mean, I could do it with these 3 colors as well, but I like cadmium red light and phthalo blue for sky. I can do all of the, you can get a lot of beautiful blues in your sky that way. But then the grays that you can make with those, all the clouds, I've done whole series of clouds with with just those 2 colors in white. And you get silvery grays, and if you're trying to mix something else, it looks like mud. But in the right place, it winds up looking like silver. Theoretically. I know that I understand that that often it's like, oh boy, that sounds so easy. I wish I could do it so easily. But a lot of this really is just about individual preferences, skill level, practice, the amount of time that you've spent on it. See, now here's one where I'm not sure how I'm going to do because I've never really done a bear. So I'm working on the bear.
How come you guys have that in the background, that noise?
Because we're used to it.
Is somebody in your house a fireman?
Aaron was for 25 years. So we're used to it. Like, I don't even notice it half the time.
Yep. Tuned it right out.
But so you feel like you couldn't have it on, you'd miss it now?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Like when it's on, it's tuned off. Like you tune it out. But if it's off, you're like, what? Where is it?
We have
Like when your refrigerator goes quiet.
What, Vic?
Like when your refrigerator turns off.
Yeah,
That too.
it gets really quiet. Okay, I'm having issues here. This is just making me cranky now.
Uh-oh. Why are you cranky, Crystal?
Oh, it's the pond.
Oh, no. Crystal's cranky about the
It's
pond.
gonna be okay.
It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. I like my mountains. I like my sunset. Just I added this blob of something in the middle here.
Oh, you dropped the pen.
Yeah, well, that wasn't really good.
Hey, blobs are fine, you know?
Oh, I'm not even gonna attempt it there.
Look at it go. Oh, Bob.
Sally, are you doing the bear?
No, I'm doing something totally different.
Nice.
I love you, Sally.
Not even on.
Sally knows how to make the most of a paint night session. Okay. What do you think?
Oh,
Excellent.
How'd I do, Ginger?
Nice job.
Looks great.
Wow.
Very different.
It's beautiful, Bob.
I don't know if you can see the bear in there.
What?
Whoa.
That's great.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, and there are tricks. So there are tricks that can be used. So one of the tricks that I thought would be interesting for this would be to cut out a bear out of something relatively durable. You find a bear, you print it out, and you cut it out of something that's like a piece of card stock. And either you focus on having the inside or the outside. So if you wanted to paint the bear like this in silhouette, you would do this, cut around the bear very, very carefully so that you preserve the outside part of it. You put that piece of paper over here and you just dab it with black paint, and you would have the most perfect bear on your canvas. And people go, well, how'd you do that? And you say,
So,
well, it's a trick.
Remember the one we did that we did the tree with a sunset that I'm still working on?
Yep,
I thought to do that with a giraffe and an elephant
yep.
because I thought I'll never freehand it and then I'll hate it.
Yep. Now, you could also do it the whole other way round, where you could do it sort of in an abstracty way. You take the inside of the shape of the bear itself and you put that on the canvas and then paint around that shape, and you would leave a hole where the bear shape was. And you could do that, and that would be an interesting effect as well. And with that, I'd say then you spatter some paint over it, and you make it kind of so that it sort of has some flair to it, and you know, there's that would be a fun.
A lot of illustrations that have to be photographed for books sometimes have several pieces overlaid,
Right.
and it doesn't show. I mean, you've drawn something here and something there, and they all paste it together, photographed, and you really don't know that it's 10 different pieces.
Yeah, well, and digitally, all that stuff can be stitched together seamlessly, and nobody would ever know that they, you know, weren't from the same place.
Before that happened, though.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Well, and that was what's his name? The Hungry Caterpillar.
Eric.
Sloan. Not Sloan.
What's his name?
Carl?
Carl. Yeah. From down in Massachusetts, and that was one of his things, is that he did such a great job with layering of parts, and the way that he layered things was really really very beautiful.
Come on, nice, Nate.
Of course it did.
Everybody doing okay there?
But this is
Everybody
right in
on
my
there?
wheelhouse. Mountains, sunsets.
Oh, and I wanted to add a little bit of more yellow
Mountain,
on my
water.
shirt here.
Thing there. My other best one, I did mountains, water, with the sound of music.
I'm gonna put just a couple more little bit highlights on my trees here. We're better there? Okay. There we go.
That looks real good. I didn't know how to get.
Did you hear what I said, Bob?
No, I did not. I lost my stuff there.
I need to look at your bear because mine's looking like a koala. Okay, that looks.
Well, maybe you're in Australia.
That's right. You're in Australia.
I wish.
Oh, it looks nice. Look at.
Sally, can you show us yours?
Well, this wolf con who I love just died a week ago.
He did?
Yeah, and this,
Sorry.
let me see if I can do this. This is a wolf con
Oh, that's beautiful, Sally.
something or other. Thank you.
Sally, how old was he?
76, I think.
And what did he die of?
I don't know.
Not the
Whatever.
virus.
No.
I'm gonna turn my bear into a rock.
There you go. See, now that's creative thinking.
It's the bare necessity.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's
See,
great.
man, I didn't see it. Oh, that's awesome, Nate.
Yeah. Yeah, really good. And if you can, when you get done, send pictures of them, either
And
post.
you know what? I've taken pictures every week and I've yet to send them to you.
Oh man, that's great. That's
Laura,
great.
what's yours?
I'm not sure. That almost looked like a small cow.
What?
That almost looked like a small cow.
There you go.
Oh, lovely. Look at that. That's really beautiful. Is that watercolor?
Gouache. and
Gouache.
watercolor.
Nice.
Do it again. Wait.
Show that again.
Laura,
I didn't see it.
That's my fault. I changed it so that we could see his.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
I can't see it.
You can't?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Yes, Sally's got hers on. Her picture moves to whoever's talking. So.
Yeah. Sally, did I see yours again? Because I Nate changed it and I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
That's really beautiful.
It does look like a cow.
Sally's does not look like a cow.
No, but Aaron's does.
Oh, yes, yeah, that one does. Yeah.
Thank you, Sally. That's beautiful.
Oh, you're welcome, Christy.
Sally, he was 92.
Oh gosh. Oh well.
Can we see Vicky?
tree. Hold on, I can't see myself. There we go.
Oh,
Wow. All right.
Really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. The original picture I had babies. I wasn't
mine
gonna.
are really tiny.
That's really great. Those are terrific. They're so cute.
Wait,
Wow. Nice.
Oh,
And I
that's
was like,
wow.
so much, but
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Cam's is beautiful. So is
there's
that
the bear
that's
right
the
there.
bear. I thought so. I thought so. It looks exactly like a bear.
well, a couple weeks ago when we did the rhododendrons,
Yep.
Matt thought it was a rock.
Yeah, yeah, a nice big pink rock, exactly. They're beautiful. They're all over the landscape around here. They're very common, especially this time of year.
Has anybody seen hummingbirds yet?
Not yet.
Yeah. Are they here? I mean, like, are they coming out?
Well, they're in Maryland, where Matt's parents live. They're in Maryland. They usually come a week after they get to Maryland.
Oh wow. Okay, this tree is just haunting me.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on with my
Thanks.
tree.
So I'm going to get off of Facebook here. Thanks all for coming. And thank you. And have a great night.